What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P back here once again, and it is victory Monday. And you know, it's Monday, so we are on LNU. Shout out to everybody involved, the whole LNU fam. You know who you are, and you know what it is. And, you know, we are over there on Motor City Cats on YouTube. If you are not subscribed, go ahead, feel free, smash that like button. Go over there and subscribe and come on back, or just wait. It's up to you. But you know, when you see me in front of TV, one thing is for certain, and three things are for sure. Number one is that the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two is that we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, we want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don, how, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's a very simple, very, very simple process, and I'm glad you asked. You smash like button, you subscribe, you share. And that's just the way that it is. And once you've done those three things, then you have indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. Now, sharing is indeed caring. So when you've shared this stream with your uncles, your cousins, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, your mothers, your fathers, your sisters, your brothers, your aunties, your nephews, your nieces, your nephews, you name it, you have indeed cared about those people. What is up, though, everybody in the chat? I will let you know right now that I am not here, right? I recorded this in the past to play it in the future so that you guys could go ahead and still get down in the chat, maybe chat amongst yourselves and things of this nature. And I'll see it later, and then I'll come in and comment and do all these things. But I'm not here right now. This is not me right here, right now. It is yesterday where I'm at, and today where you at. It's last night where I'm at, and tonight where you at. But I had something to do, so I wasn't able to come through and be live here with you guys. But I wanted to make sure that I did not miss the show. I wanted to make sure that I did not miss a Victory Monday, because what would you do without Motor City Don P on your Victory Mondays? You probably do a lot. You probably got a lot to do. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it, man. And as I said, I will have the chat available. So if y'all want to communicate with each other in the chat, go ahead. Feel free to do that. Because y'all will be live together while this is airing, but I won't be actually here talking to you. So anybody in the chat that's going to be here for the whole time, please let everybody know who's in here, especially like if Kay comes in and she'd be like, oh, Chef just ignoring people. I can't stand him, blah, 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 blah. I'm not actually here, so I can't actually see your comments right now. I will see them later when I play back the stream and see your comments. So anyway, we are here to talk about the Cleveland Browns, the number one overall defense in the NFL. I don't know if they are still after tonight or last night. I gotta speak like it's in the past. After yesterday afternoon. I don't know if they're still the number one defense. They came in to Detroit and Ford Field, and Jim Schwartz all week was telling them, we're going to go in their trap. We're going to take over their trap. We're going to go in their trap. We're going to take over their trap. We're going to go in their trap. We're going to take over their trap. And I'm going to have you guys carry me out on your shoulders like the Buffalo Bills did for me when I came back here and I was the defensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. Won't that be great, guys? Because you know what they said? They said that we ain't seen a running game like theirs. They said that. And we're just going to show them MFs who we are, because we're the Cleveland MF and Browns. We put up 100 on them things. Previously, them boys were only allowing 57.3 yards per game. And Jahmyr Gibbs came on the scene with 15 carries and 91 yards and said, hold my drink. I got that Sonic juice for you. You know what I'm saying? He said, I got that Sonic juice for you. Hold my drink while I put up 91 by myself. And Demont, after having a phenomenal game against the Ravens last night or last Monday night, didn't do too much. He had 9 carries for 12 yards. But that's not a problem. You know why it's not a problem? Because Sonic and Knuckles are a duo. When one of those guys isn't working, the other one's working. Sometimes both of them ain't working. Sometimes both of them are working. But it is called a run game, not a running back game. Both of those are integral parts of our running game. And sometimes one person has to pick up the slack. Jahmyr Gibbs was slacking versus the Baltimore Ravens. David Montgomery said, I got you, Ja. Don't worry about it. So now David Montgomery was slacking versus the Cleveland Browns. Jahmyr Gibbs said, don't worry, Demo. I got you. Right? And that's how it goes. Together, they combined for what? 103 yards? Okay. Pretty good, right? Jahmyr Gibbs was 6.2 yards per carry. Against the number one defense. If you are the number one defense in the league, you should not let one man gain 6.2 yards per carry against you. We're going to get into some more stats a little bit later, but I just wanted to look at it from, Jim Schwartz standpoint. What did Jim Schwartz have to say? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what Jim Schwartz had to say? I sure don't. It was a lot of crickets. Okay. But let's just see what Jim Schwartz had to say. Searched far and wide through these YouTube streets. Far and wide, I searched. I'm sorry, but I got to tell you, I couldn't find Jim Schwartz saying anything about anything. Now, I saw stuff from 3 days ago where Jim Schwartz was talking about how, they ain't really doing nothing special over there. And, we're going to show them who we are pretty much and so on and so forth, taking shots, the beef was the beef. But Jim Schwartz was a bunch of crickets after this game. I saw Kevin Stefanski was talking. I saw Myles Garrett was talking. Okay. Joe Flacco was talking. Right. They had post-game press conferences. Where was Jim Schwartz? Where was he? I don't know. I couldn't find him. I was looking for him. Right. Jim Schwartz say he from wherever he's from. I was over there. I was looking for him. Ain't nobody seen him. Nobody's seen him. Now you might be saying, Don, it's odd, man. It's odd that you were so fixated about Jim Schwartz. Let me tell you something about me. When people come in my trap and take over my trap, okay, I don't like it. Jim Schwartz came in here with the Buffalo Bills and was carried off the field on their shoulders after they beat us per his request. If y'all didn't know, he requested the team to carry him off on their shoulders as if he was some sort of hero, as he was some sort of jolly good fellow. Jim Schwartz didn't get fired in Detroit because someone was out to get him. Jim Schwartz got fired in Detroit because Jim Schwartz got fired. Jim Schwartz got fired in Detroit in 2014. I believe it was. It was after the 2013 season, so 2014. Okay? I went over this before, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. And then we went to the playoffs in 2014-15. That's crazy, right? Hold on. Let me be sure. Let me just be sure, because I like to be accurate. Even if I got to look it up. I'm not one of those people that claims to be an encyclopedia. All right. When did Jim Schwartz get fired in Detroit? That's the question. All right. Jim Schwartz was fired on December 30th, 2013, following 5 seasons as the head coach. And the very next season, we went to the playoffs. What does that tell you? Was it Jim Schwartz that got fired because he was Jim Schwartz? Or was it someone who fired him because they were out looking for revenge or looking for something? I feel like it was Jim Schwartz who got fired because he was Jim Schwartz. Also, further validating my opinion on this matter is that he's never had another head coaching opportunity. He's been a defensive coordinator, full stop. He was a defensive coordinator for the Eagles, okay, for the Bills, for the Browns. Not head coaching material because no one else has hired him. Why is that? Just saying. So you may think I'm a little bit fixated on it, but I think that was a clown move. It was a clown move to ask your team. It's not like they did it like because they were like, oh, this Jim, what I'm saying? We did it for Jim. We wanted to go out and get this dub for Jim. No, he asked to be carried off on their shoulders, and that's just lame. Anyway, let's get back to what happened on the field. I mean, stuff like that, he was a defensive play caller, right? He's a defensive coordinator. What happened on the field was what happened on the field. Let's pull up a few stats. We'll just talk about this a little bit. Let's walk through this. As we know, the Cleveland Browns put up 10 points. The Detroit Lions put up 34. Now, here's the thing. The Detroit Lions have this uncanny ability now in all 4 games to give up an opening drive touchdown. The Cleveland Browns had not scored a point in the first quarter of any of their games. So then they go down on the opening drive to score a touchdown, and everyone is pissed. I myself personally was not very happy, but guess what happened? They scored 10 points. Y'all know the NFL, the games, 60-minute game, right? They scored 7 points in the first couple of minutes of the games and only got 3 more points for the rest of it. There was a funny quote. Well, not a quote. There was a funny comment on one of my videos. Well, basically, it wasn't on a video. It was on a live stream. My man Brett DeWitt, shout out Brett DeWitt. He said his score prediction was something like 34-24. Mistake by the Lake, 24. Detroit Lions 34. And I was like, the fact that you think that the Cleveland Browns are capable of putting up 24 points is laughable. Okay. Shout out my man Tactical Sport. He was like, this game has been out of reach pretty much since the first half. It was like, basically, once it was a 10-point lead, it was out of reach. You understand what I'm saying? The Detroit Lions did not F around and find out like the Green Bay Packers did. We'll talk about those guys in the NFC North report because, boy, do I have a fun NFC North report coming for you guys. Hey, the Packers one is fun. The Vikings one is fun. The Bears one, not so much. Not so much, right? So anyway, I've got to rewatch the Bears game, but I know what happened. And the Vikings game, I know what happened. I watched firsthand what happened in that the Green Bay Packers game, but we'll get into that when I release the report. I'm not going to get into that right now. Anyway, so the Cleveland Browns, again, 10 points for the entire game. 7 points in the first few minutes, 3 points the rest of the way. Okay, that means for the remainder of the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, they were able to get 3 more points. So let's just do it this way. Outside of the first quarter, the Cleveland Browns averaged 1 point per quarter. If you want to do it that way, right? Outside of the first quarter, the Cleveland Browns averaged 1 point a quarter. You can't score 1 point by itself in the NFL, right? 1 point comes after something else. 1 point always comes after 6. There are no kicks. There are no plays to get you 1 point. Only 2 points. Okay, 2 points is the lowest denomination of points. So the Detroit Lions defense did very well this game. It doesn't matter what offense they were playing. They did well this game. Now, where are the flaws that we can see? Let's get into the stats. Okay. Again, if you want to know exactly, they didn't score again until the third quarter. They got a field goal in the third quarter. All right, let's go to the Cleveland Browns passing stats. Joe Flacco was 16 of 34. Okay, which is less than 50%, if you were wondering, for 184 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Okay, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It says 3.14 sacks. I don't know what 0.14 is. Okay, but he was sacked 3 times. Okay, Dillon Gabriel came in, was 0 for 1, no stats. Okay, he was 0 for 1, no stats, no completions, 1 attempt. So the team was 16 of 35 for 170 yards because Joe Flacco was sacked twice. So he lost 14 yards on those sacks and 2 interceptions. Okay. The Browns offense is inept. We will say that for sure. But that was a good showing by the Detroit Lions to stop the passing game. They got less than 200 yards, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, the Cleveland Browns rushing attack, Quinshon Judkins with his made-up ass name. Okay, Quinshon is not a first name. Judkins is not a last name. That is a cartoon character out there, folks. That is a cartoon character. That is not a real person. Okay, that's not a real name. I'm sorry. You can't convince me that Quinshon Judkins is a real name. Has anybody ever heard of a Judkins? I've heard of Jenkins. Judkins is not a last name I've ever heard of. Cap. If you think that that is a real name, you are a capologist. If you ever meet Quinshon Judkins in person and he tells you that's his real name, call him a capologist. That is cap. Anyway, he was 21 carries for 82 yards. Very disappointing. 1 touchdown and long of 11. The fact that that man got 82 yards, 82 yards on 21 carries is very disconcerting. Mostly because he has a made-up name. Mostly because he has a made-up name and he went to Oh Hell No State. I don't like the fact that he had that. I don't like the fact he did that. He was 9 yards shy of what Jahmyr Gibbs did. I don't like that. Anyway, Harold Fanning Jr. had 1 carry for 1 yard. Joe Flacco, 3 carries for -1 yards. My guy, Joe Flacco, bless his heart. We call him Geriatric Joe in the hood. My guy, do y'all remember he had a scramble where he slid right at the line of scrimmage? So he tried to scramble to get out of trouble and he slid right at the line of scrimmage, which means he gained no yards. That was one of his carries. Okay? So he had 3 carries for -1 yards. Jerome Ford had 1 carry for -1 yards. Dylan Sampson had 1 carry for -2 yards. Dylan Sampson, I think, was some sort of fullback, something like this. So the team in itself had 27 carries for 79 yards and a touchdown, and the long was 11. Okay, so while the Detroit Lions gave up a little bit more than they usually give up, because 60 yards was the barometer. And Quinshon Judkins broke that by 22 yards. Okay? Their barometer was 57, and we broke it by, 45? Something like that? Okay? Yeah, 45. Okay? Just doing some quick math. The fact that the only ball carrier to have positive yards was Quinshon Judkins is phenomenal, because that's not a real person and you can't convince me that it is. So we had this anime character or whatever he is rush for 82 yards. Everyone else who's real people, okay, Joe Flacco, Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, Harold Fannin, no yards. I'm sorry. Harold Fannin had 1 yard. Sorry. Harold Fannin had 1 yard. So him and Quinshawn were the only ones to have positive yards at all. Okay. Receiving, Isaiah Bond. You know he was going to work his way in here because he's not ever going to live down the fact that he told us he was going to run a 4.140 if he was feeling real good at the combine and wound up running a 4.5. I'm sorry. You can't live that down. So every time I see you, Isaiah, every time I hear your name, every time I see your name, every time I see you on TV, if you know, whenever the Cleveland Browns play and I'm watching, which is never, okay, unless it's on Red Zone or something. Every time I see you, I'm gonna let everybody know this was the guy that said he was gonna run a 4.1 and he wound up running a 4.5. That's crazy. Those speeds are nowhere near the same ballpark. Not at all. Mm-mm. Anyway, Isaiah Bond was 3 receptions, 58 yards, no touchdowns, no rap deal. Hashtag if you know, you know. All right. His long was 35. He had 6 targets. Jerry Jeudy, 3 for 48. Long of 33, 9 targets. Quinshawn Judkins, 4 for 33. 16 was his long, 4 targets. Again, the fact that you allow this man to eclipse 100 all-purpose yards irks me. It irks me. Okay? Now, we don't play them again and all that other stuff, but, you know, y'all gotta shut that down 4 years from now. I'm gonna remember that. Okay. Harold Fannin, 2 for 24. 13 was his long, 6 targets. David Njoku, 2 for 11. I don't even remember David Njoku playing. If I'm being honest with you, I remember like 1 play that he was involved in, but he had 2 receptions for 11 yards. 9 was his long, so that's probably the one that I remember him in. 3 targets. Cedric Tillman, 1 for 6. 6 was his long, 2 targets. Jerome Ford, 1 for 4, 2 targets. Blake Whiteheart, Dylan Sampson, both were targeted. Neither one of them caught the ball. And as I said, 16 receptions, 184 yards. 35 was the long, 34 targets. Okay? All right. Turnovers. Joe Flacco lost 1 fumble, but he actually was strip sacked twice. Let's have a conversation, guys. We're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, as I said in the NFC North report. If you don't know this, they tied. The main reason that they tied had nothing to do with the talent that the Dallas Cowboys did not have on defense. It had nothing to do with the talent that Dallas Cowboys did not have on offense. Like it or not, believe it or not, the Dallas Cowboys are a very talented football team. It's the NFL. All teams have talent. George Pickens is a talented wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb is a talented wide receiver, even though he didn't play today. Dak Prescott is a talented quarterback. I watched him play that game. I watched the entire game. Dak Prescott is a talented quarterback. He's been doing it for 10 years. He's been navigating the shipwreck of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is a competent GM who has put together a competent football team. Dare I even say that Brian Schottenheimer is a competent head coach. The reason that the Dallas Cowboys tied and did not beat the Green Bay Packers is because there was a lack of discipline. There were personal fouls everywhere. There were penalties everywhere. Brian Branch Got to clean those up, my guy. Phenomenal player. Phenomenal player. Got to clean it up. How many turnovers do we have called back this year? I can think of 2 off the top of my head. Brian Branch had an interception overturned because Rock Ya-Sin was called for defensive holding. And then they were going to call Hutch for unnecessary roughness or something during the return, but that wouldn't have overturned the penalty. I mean the interception. So maybe Brian Branch was just like paying Hutch back. It's like, I know that interception didn't count, but that would have been a pick 6, and you would have negated my pick 6 with that dumbass block of Jordan Love. So I'm going to return the favor. So Hutch goes ahead and gets himself a strip sack, and Brian Branch just gets called for defensive holding. Like the penalty, don't like the penalty, think they should have called it, think they shouldn't have called it. That's neither here nor there. Is a penalty that cost us the football. The Detroit Lions are a phenomenal football team, and I'm not afraid of any other football team. When my guys come to play, I don't give a damn who you are. I don't give a damn if you are Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. At first I was afraid. I was petrified. I didn't know I could get the dub with Lamar Jackson standing by my side. Okay, y'all know what it is. No longer afraid of them. I don't give a damn if you're Patrick Mahomes. I don't give a damn if you're Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. I don't care, Baker. I don't care who you are. My team can beat your team. Facts. We've done it. We've beat Lamar Jackson. I can say that now confidently. Okay, we've beat Lamar Jackson. We've beat Patrick Mahomes before. Okay, Jalen Hurts, we haven't played. Well, we have played, but that was when we sucked. Okay, this iteration of the Detroit Lions hasn't played Jalen Hurts. And if y'all saw that game, if you saw the game against the Bucs, guess what they didn't do? They had a big lead in the first half. In the second half, they were 0 for 7. They passed the ball, or was it 0 for 8? 0 for 7 or 8. They passed the ball 7 or 8 times and did not complete a pass in the second half. And had to hold on for dear life as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stormed back. And I think they beat them by what, 7 or 8? Okay? I think they beat him by 8. Not afraid of any of these people. But the problem that we have is we got to stop the penalties. We got to clean them up. We're not the most penalized team in the NFL, but we're not the least penalized either. And the least penalized is what you want to be. Okay, so we got to clean that up. I love my team. I love everybody on the team. And let me take a pause right quick. Loving everybody on the team. J-Mo didn't have a great game. And y'all know J-Mo's my guy. Y'all know I am the official keeper of the J-Mo. And eventually I'm going to get a shirt made. Eventually. I've got to do it. But there was a fan, and I don't know this fan. I haven't seen him before. But he comes in and just unprompted, like just crapping all over J-Mo while we're winning. Brother, is this are you rooting for this team? The 5 more years. 5 more years. Say it with me now. 5 more years. You J-Mo haters are ridiculous. Amon-Ra's a real football player. Hey, you got to get it to Sammy Laporte. He's a real football player. Apparently, the Lions think that Jameson Williams is a real football player too, which is why they were force feeding him, which is why he signed an $83 million contract extension, which is why he's going to be here for 5 more years, which is why Jared Goff said that Jameson Williams is the best teammate he has ever had in organized sports. Please get off the train. Okay? Whatever haterade that you are sipping, get off the train. The dude is a good dude, and he is a phenomenal football player. He did not have a good game. Stop waiting in the wings to pile on. It's retarded. And I don't know if I can say that word. I don't know if YouTube is going to cancel me, but it's freaking asinine. It's a ridiculous thing that you people do. You look so petty and so ignorant because you're sitting up here crapping on this young man, preying on his downfall. How are you a freaking fan of the team and you're preying on this man's downfall? He is a good football player. He's helping your team to win. Take your freaking Oakleys off, bro, when you come to watch football. It's ridiculous. And it's unwarranted. Bro, if you're going to have that type of misery, take your ass away from my stream. If you're going to be that type of miserable person, unsubscribe and don't freaking come to my stream anymore. It was just freaking ridiculous, bro. I have a very clear hatred for Jeffrey Namumbo Ohel Nokuda. Dude was trash. Wasted pick. Wasn't helping my football team win. Was busy getting burnt. Was nicknamed barbecue chicken. There was an alert. Oh, he's in man coverage. Throw over there because we're going to get a touchdown. But a freaking player who's good, who helps my team win, I'm going to root for that guy all the time. Jared Goff was not my favorite player when he came to the Detroit Lions, and he played like crap his first season here. And you could say he didn't have talent or whatever, but you know what he did? He developed, he evolved, he got so much better, and I am perfectly happy and fine with him being my quarterback. If you've got other problems, keep them to yourself. I don't agree with you. I just don't. My guy, Mr. Detroit City, trolls about Jameson Williams, but I understand that he understands the talent. You people in your Oakley wearing hatred, that's something else that y'all got to deal with, and I don't need that kind around me. So if that's who you are and that's what you believe and those are your beliefs, get up out my stream. Because me and JMO, same origin, if you can't tell. Anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. I just had to spaz out a little bit because that's just freaking ridiculous. Anyway, so we got to clean up the penalties, bro. We got to clean up the penalties. Joe Flacco had 1 fumble and 1 fumble loss, okay? And that's because he had 2 fumbles lost, but the 1 fumble that he lost wasn't counted because of penalties, okay? DeAndre Carter had 1 fumble, but he did not lose it. If y'all don't remember, that was the muffed punt. So the team had 2 fumbles and 1 of them was lost. Okay. So again, it was a good showing by the defense. They need to clean up the way that they start games because the way that they start games ain't great. You just need to start faster. I was saying that they use the first drive as the preseason. Like they're just trying to figure everything out. But I'll take it. If you're trying to figure out teams and then you only go up to you go on to give up 10 points, I'm cool with that. But we don't have the luxury of playing the Cleveland Browns every week. We don't have the luxury of doing that. And also, there's some other things that we don't have the luxury of. Cornerbacks. Yeah. Yeah. I think we all saw DJ Reed get carted off. You don't, yeah, and I said it when it happened. I'm like, you don't get carted off the field if it's unless it's Paul Pierce and you got, put in a wheelchair and because you had to go to the bathroom and take a dump and then you came right back out. I don't. Dan Campbell said he doesn't know the severity of it, but he's not confident that he'll be playing next week or anything. Even TA, he said he's not confident that he's going to play next week, but obviously he's going to miss less time. Jack Campbell believes that he was the one that caused the injury. Remember, Jack Campbell was the one that broke Amik Robertson's arm last year. Jack Campbell, you got to, because he said it's the same thing. He said he was trying to come in and get an extra hit on the running back. Sometimes, Jack, when your teammates got him, you got to leave him because now we don't know what happened with TA, but if that was you, we know you were the one that broke Amik's arm. So we got to figure, we got to come on, we got to come under a little bit more control when we are doing that. But yeah, so the injury bug has now descended upon the secondary. Kirby Joseph went out, but we know that Kirby Joseph has been dealing with some sort of knee injury. I don't know if it's tenderness or whatever of the knee since training camp. So he was missing practices and things of this nature. But, shout out to Kirby getting his second interception of the year. We're game number 4. We're 3-1. Kirby's got 2 interceptions. Again, he's continuing his leading lead of having interceptions, the most interceptions since he came into the league. Since he came into the league, nobody has more interceptions than Kirby Joseph. Shout out to Brad Holmes for finding him in the 3rd round. Yes, I did just give Melvin, Bradley, Matthias, Jerome, Cornelius Holmes a compliment. I've done this all the time. I've only talked about the pass rush. Okay. Speaking of the pass rush, let's talk about that today. Let's go to, because since we're right here, we will go, since we're talking about the Detroit Lions defense, right? Tackles. Jack Campbell, 11. Derek Barnes, 7. Alex Anzalone, 6. Terrion Arnold, 6. Brian Branch, 5. Aiden Hutchinson, 4. DJ Reed, 4. DJ Reader, 3. Roy Lopez, 3. Kirby Joseph, 3. Grant Stewart, 2. Pat O'Connor, 2. Rock Yassin, 2. Khalil Dorsey, 1. Amik Robertson, 1. Craig Reynolds, 1. Sam Laporta, 1. Tyler Lacey, 1. Tyrus Wheat. This says Tyrus Wheat has 1. Okay, Tyrus Wheat is number 99, y'all, because I don't remember seeing this man on the field. And it said, okay, see, I told you they're lying, bro. I told you they are lying about this man, Tyrus Wheat. Okay, bet, check it. Now, what I didn't read to you guys was solo and assisted. Okay, now check this out. If they're not lying, I'm sorry. It just says solo. How many of them were solo? Okay. Jack Campbell, 11 tackles, 7 solo. Tyrus Wheat, 1 tackle, 0 solo. I got to go back and watch the tape. If I see 99 touching anybody with somebody else, pause. Because I'm just saying, this man got 1, he's credited for 1 tackle, but it ain't solo. And assisted, you never know what happens. Assisted, he might just, the dude might be falling down. He might just run over to the pile and just push him. And then they give him an assist. So Tyrus Wheat is down here for 1 tackle. Tyrus Wheat, again, has as many tackles as Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta's tackle was a solo. Sam Laporta is a tight end, people. Okay? Maybe I'm being unfair to Tyrus Wheat. Maybe. But Sam Laporta had a solo tackle and Tyrus Wheat didn't. I'm just saying. Okay, Trevor Nowatzki had one. The team had a total of 65 tackles, 37 of them were solo. We had 3 sacks and 4 tackles for loss. Now, Alex Anzalone was credited with a sack. Aiden Hutchinson was credited with a sack. I think Alex Anzalone was his sack a half a sack. I don't know. All right, Jack Campbell with a tackle for loss, Brian Branch with a tackle for loss, and Aiden Hutchinson with 2 tackles for loss. Now, there is a very distinct name that we are missing on this list of people. Let me go back down the list. I'm just going to read the list of names. Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone, Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch, Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reed, DJ Reader, Roy Lopez, Kirby Joseph, Grant Stewart, Pat O'Connor, Rakia Singh, Khalil Dorsey, Mick Robertson, Craig Reynolds, Sam Laporta, Tyrus Lacey, Tyrus Wheat, Trevor Nowatzki. Where's AQM? Okay. Now we pressured Joe Flacco. We sacked him a few times. We had 3 sacks. Okay. It wasn't the 7 that we had from Lamar Jackson. Again, is the problem solved? No. Is it something I'm going to keep an eye on? Yes. The only person listed in this, in the sack column that was from the defensive line was Aiden Hutchinson. The other person listed was Alex Anzalone, who's a linebacker. Now, are sacks everything? No. Do pressures affect the other team? Yes. Do pressures affect the quarterback? Yes. We saw some pressures affect some of Jared Goff's passes to J-Mo, right? There were certain situations where, man, if we could have kept Myles Garrett at bay for half a second more, Jared Goff could have stepped into some of the throws and put them on J-Mo better. That's fine, right? And the ones that he dropped. Cool. Jared Goff even said the one that he dropped when he had the switch shoulders was on him, was on Jared Goff. Jared Goff said, I missed him multiple times because he said, let's rewind that. He said, I missed him multiple times because he wanted to be sure that people knew he wasn't crapping on J-Mo and say, oh, he just had a bad game. He said, no, let's rewind that. I missed him multiple times. And that one that he dropped when he had the switch shoulders, that was on me. Okay, but it was on him because of pressure. So now what we're talking about, are the Detroit Lions pressuring quarterbacks and making them make poor decisions and things of that nature? Yes. 100% yes. Did El Quadin Muhammad not affect the game because he didn't have a tackle? That's not the case. Right? Was he pushing the pocket? Was he funneling things over to Hutch? Yep, he was. Now, did he win a one-on-one and get to Joe Flacco? No. He didn't do that. Okay? And for those of you that don't understand the argument, that's the argument. The argument is who can consistently win one-on-ones and get to the quarterback opposite Hutch. Shout out James Houston, because James Houston is assuming a similar type of role in Dallas as he assumed with Detroit. He doesn't play a ton of snaps, but when he plays snaps, he gets good value out of those snaps. He had a strip sack last night on Sunday Night Football. All right. So, and I'm not saying that I'm just saying, shout out James Houston. I root for James Houston, right? I root for him. All right. So that was the defense in a nutshell. Okay. So we had 65 total tackles. The Cleveland Browns had 63 total tackles. 37 of ours were solo. 31 of theirs were solo. They had 0 sacks. Okay. This is the 3rd game in a row where Jared Goff was not sacked. Okay. For context. Okay. The Cleveland Browns sacked Jordan Love 5 times last week. They did not get to Jared Goff once. They did get to him once, but it was negated by a penalty that they committed. So they have 0 sacks this game. The defense or the offensive line has been doing a phenomenal job, both in the run game and the pass game, which is why we put up 127 points or something like that, 124 points in the last 3 games. Okay, that offensive line is coming together and it's coming together nicely. I really didn't like the false start on Christian Mahogany. I really didn't like that. I mean, he just pointed at a guy that jumped. They do this all the time. I've never seen a point be called as a false start. Never. But there's a first time for everything. Just like that Jake Bates field goal was the first time I've ever seen a field goal do that. That I don't know what that was. Okay. That was somebody put a homing beacon in the ball and it was set to the goalpost because that thing went straight, then it went outside, then it curved back and went inside. I was like, hey man, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so yes, the offensive line has been doing a phenomenal job in the run game, opening up the holes. Even we played 2 tough defenses, right? The Ravens are having their problems. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday afternoon, so I don't know what's happening with them. Also, Lamar Jackson seems to be out for a couple of weeks with a hamstring strain. He went out in the 3rd quarter. They lost 20-37. There's something about it's one of those matchups. And I think the Chiefs, we can't really glean too much from it. Everyone thinks that the Chiefs are back, but you have to see what they do next week. I'm, looking ahead to the Chiefs game. I mean, obviously we have the Bengals next, but looking ahead to the Chiefs game, I'm not so sure that they're back. So I'll be looking to see what they do next week. Hopefully they don't have a bye or anything. I don't know when their bye week is, but I'll be looking forward to see what they do next week against their next opponent before I can say, oh, they're back and we should be worried about them. Because right now I got the dub. I had the dub anyway because we've gone into Arrowhead before and done what we had to do to beat them. But yeah, we'll have to see. I just feel like they have the Ravens number. I really do. But I was saying that they placed Nnamdi Madubuike on IR with that neck injury that which was the reason he missed the game against us last Monday night. So generally they're a good run stuffing team. Not so much this year. Their defense is pretty bad this year. They've given up large amounts of points every game, except for the Browns, who managed 17. See, there you go. They managed 17 against the Ravens and only 10 against us. So, I mean, but then again, the Ravens did score 41 and we only scored 34. So, we took it was a 7-point swing. We swung 7 points in the favor of our defense, 7 points in the favor of their offense. But yeah, so the offensive line's been doing great. Since the debacle of the first week of the season. Obviously, you had basically two rookies, right? Because Christian Mahogany played like 1 game last year in his rookie season. So basically 2 rookies on the interior. And Jared Goff credited the interior. He said the interior protection was phenomenal, right? So Malik Collins wasn't in there. Shout out to all the Maliks in the world, right? Malik Collins wasn't in there, wreaking havoc and things of that nature. So he had a clean interior pocket, which is best for Jared Goff, because we did see some wheels. We did see him being mobile golf in the pocket, navigating his way, getting out of harm's way. And hey, when you got Myles Garrett breathing down your neck all game, I mean, the fact that you didn't get sacked, the job you did to prevent that, Jared Goff, and the job that you guys did to prevent that offensive line, fantastic, phenomenal. So good for them. They did have 4 tackles for loss. just like we did. We know DJ Reed had the one interception. We know Kirby Joseph had the one interception. Denzel Ward had one interception off of Jared Goff, which, Jared Goff said he saw it poorly and he wishes he could have that one back. I don't know what he was doing. And again, that was a situation where he underthrew Jamo. I feel like if he threw it to him, if he put it on him, if he didn't miss him, if he let him out in front, that's not an interception. Now, whether it was going to be caught or not, I don't know. A wide open, I don't think Jamo was going to drop that one. Okay. He had 2 receptions on 8 targets. Again, Jared Goff said he's so steady Eddie throughout the week. He's not worried at all about, Jameson Williams, his confidence or anything of that nature. So again, that Denzel Ward interception could have been prevented, need a better pass. I don't know. He said he didn't see it right. He didn't see it correctly. Even if you did see it correctly, the pass needed to be a better pass. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it needed to be a better pass. It needed to be a higher pass and a further pass. It wasn't a good pass. So, and that's pretty much all the stats that really actually matter. As we said, Jahmyr Gibbs had 15 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown. His long was 24. David Montgomery, 9 for 12, long of 4. Jacob Saylors, 2 for 11. That was when Kyle Allen was in, long of 9. Kyle Allen, sorry, I was only counting the, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery rushing total. So Jameson Williams had 1 carry for -3 yards. Kyle Allen, 2 for -2. I think those were just kneel downs. So 29 carries for 109 yards and a touchdown. The long was 24. So they gave up 109, and it could have been 115 or 114. But we did, well, without the losses, it would have been 114. I don't know what it would have been had those actually been gains of, you know what I'm saying? But look, the Detroit Lions did what they had to do. They took care of business. There were no letdown games. There are no trap games in Detroit. If you didn't see the post-game press conference, Dan Campbell was asked about that. And he said, yeah, Bill Parcells, when he was playing for him, when he thought it was going to be a trap game, you'd go into the facility and he'd have 1 million mouse traps hanging from the ceiling, the walls, everything, to remind the players that this was a possible trap game. So for Dan Campbell, he said, we don't have to do that here because we've been fortunate enough to have these guys as guys that are in-house guys, and they got them when they were basically puppies, in the NFL, right? So they've been able to shape them, they've been able to mold them. Culture, basically, is what he was talking about. So the culture of the Detroit Lions does not allow for trap games. And this is why you didn't see them celebrating the Ravens win too much and thinking too much about that. No, we stomped the Ravens, or we did dominate the Ravens in the trenches, right? But we dominated them from some aspects. So now we're just going to cakewalk the Cleveland Browns. It wasn't a cakewalk. The game was a lot closer, I would say, than the score dictates. If we were playing a team with a real offense and the defense of the Cleveland Browns, that might have been a 1-possession game. It would have been very nip-tuck. It would have been very touch and go. So we're just fortunate that we were playing an offense so awful. But at the end of the day, you play the opponents who are in front of you, and the Detroit Lions don't seem to be very susceptible to the emotional letdowns and things of this nature and not being able to get up for your opponent. But if I do look back at last year and I talk about the whatchamacallit, the Bills game, okay? I feel like we weren't emotionally there, but I feel like the game was more important to the Bills, and they wanted to show everyone that we weren't the big bad wolf, and they had extra motivation, and we just didn't match it, right? And we did have a bunch of injuries, but I just feel like we didn't match their motivation, and we did not match their energy. So that's pretty much it, man, for this game. Good win, good team win. Now it's on to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is another team that could be overlooked because Joe Burrow is not there. I'll be interested to see, as of the taping of this, I don't know what the actual injuries are in the timetable. Maybe by the time you see this, you will know more than I currently do. But it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and we're playing with backup. I mean, Amik's not a backup. Amik proved himself against Justin Jefferson. I think, let's see. If you put a man-on-man against Jamar Chase, let's see what happens there. I don't know if TA is coming back. He walked off pretty gingerly. I don't know. But, TA definitely needs to work on his confidence, man, because something's going on. This is not the play that I'm seeing is not what I saw on his trajectory last season, because, he started off a little sluggish and then he just got better, rep after rep, game after game. I don't know if it's going to need to be the same thing this year. And then finally he's going to reach his final form and he's going to be a shutdown corner. I don't know. But he needs to, get out of his own head. He was locking down J-Mo. He was locking down Amon-Ra. He's locking down all these people that he's playing against in training camp. And now he gets out there and he's not looking great. I'm one of the biggest proponents of Terrion Arnold when people make these Jeffrey Namumbo, oh hell no, Kuda references. No, bro, that's not what I'm seeing. And people, it's low-hanging fruit. We've got a corner who's struggling. The first thing people want to say is Jeffrey Namumbo. Bruh, not even close. Not even close. I'm telling y'all, I never said about Jeffrey Namumbo, oh hell no, Kuda, hey, that's good coverage. Hey, he's got good technique. Hey, he's in the right spot. He just needs to get his head turned around. I never said these things about him. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Not a single time. A single play. I never said any of these things. But as I am a big proponent of Terrion Arnold, just need a little bit of time to develop. He does need to get out of his head. He does need to get his confidence back. And maybe sitting for a few weeks will allow him to do so. I don't know. But for right now, it's going to be Amik Robertson probably starting at corner. And Rock Ya-Sin, I guess, because Rock Ya-Sin is a converted corner. Like, he's playing safety, but he plied his trade as a corner in this league. So that is going to be what that is probably. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, this is around the time that we would usually do mailbag. But I did just want to say this about Jake Browning coming in. They looked so terrible against the Minnesota Vikings. They looked like they didn't even want to play. They were just there to hand over the ball to the Vikings whenever they asked them for it. They'd throw them an interception. They'd fumble. They'd just drop the ball on the ground. Like, here, guys, we don't want it. Take it. We'll see what they look like tomorrow night because they are Monday Night Football. There's 2 games. It's the Dolphins and the Jets and the Bengals and I don't know who. But the thing that I wanted to tell everybody about, this is the thing that I was noticing. The NFL is the NFL. And there are people out here who are complaining about the way that the Detroit Lions beat the Cleveland Browns, even though we beat them by 24 points. Even though the Cleveland Browns only scored in 2 quarters, the first one and the third one, a 7 and a 3. Even though this is all that happened, there are people that are complaining about the way that we beat them and all these other things. I point out the negative things that we need to fix. We need to fix the turnover, not turnovers. We need to fix the penalties. We need to clean that up. right? We need to do a lot of stuff to improve and make our team even better than we already are. This has been a dominant stretch. We dominated the Bears. We physically bullied the bullies in Baltimore. We dominated the Browns. Even though it was an ugly domination, it was still a domination, right? When you can only put up 10 points, you've been dominated. You have. Because there's 60 minutes and you're only putting up 10 points. You've been dominated. If you're on the losing end, right? If you're on the winning end, if it's 10-3, that's different. Okay? But all these teams in the NFL are teams in the NFL for a reason. We saw the 0-3 chart with the 0-3 New York Giants go out there and start a rookie and beat the 3-0 Chargers. We saw the terrible Saints giving the undefeated Bills all that they could handle. And we saw the Tennessee Titans suck ass. Okay? We saw the Tennessee Titans suck. Okay? Every defeated team, every offer team is not created equal. And those Tennessee Titans, boy, are they terrible. But again, as I said, the Bengals looked terrible too last week. And we'll see what they look like coming up tonight here on Monday Night Football. But that is going to be it for me, guys. I appreciate those of you who stuck around, even though I'm not here. Shout out to you, and I will be in here with the chat replay looking at your I'll be looking at your chats, your messages. So if you guys have a question for me, let me know. Put it here in the chat, and I will try to check it out and answer it tomorrow when I will be here live and in the flesh. All right. So again, if you are here on LNU and you have not subscribed over there on Motor City Cats, please go right now. Motor City Cats. It's YouTube. That's all you type in. Motor City Cats. Nothing is spelled with a K. None of that stuff. Motor City Cats. Go over there and subscribe for your boy. We are trying to get back to 1,000 subscribers. Okay, we're done monetizing other people's channels. Okay, we're monetizing our own channel. You feel me? So let's go ahead and do that, man. I appreciate you guys once again. The Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic, and we are out. Peace.